All right, folks, I wanted to spend this video. I haven't been on for a while, but I wanted to focus on some players that it seems like we're sort of at the end of the season in terms of Europe, but actually with the UEFA Nations League coming up, there's some really actual great buys, and you should be able to put in some pretty good lineups. So what I wanted to do is not, I want to skip past the, Spain and Germany, Italy, countries that, those cards, those players, you're going to need to spend big on anyways. They tend to play for club and country, and their price isn't really going to drop, or you're not going to find as many deals. But looking at these other countries that players that play for their national team and have a really good fixture over the next 3-4 weeks for this Nations League. So let's dive right in. And fortunately, some of the development with Sorare Data has really helped things, made things pretty easy to look across here. So we'll kind of go in a bit of an order here, and you'll see which ones I'm most keen on. But so as an example, so we can go say to this guy, and now he's only on the rare side. There's no limiteds and stuff. So this one's kind of maybe, and as you can see, his listing price is much higher than what he's probably rightfully would go for. But just to kind of illustrate the point, so decent player here. This is definitely somebody that would probably be useful going into next season. But what we can also see is these games ahead, right? So this is really handy. We see Gibraltar should be a pretty easy win for them. And then, Bulgaria, Macedonia, not too bad either. But what's great is we can now actually just drill down and choose Georgia here. And then we see how he's done for country. And so now we see, okay, well, it's actually pretty good. Probably a decent buy. So this is kind of how, this is the model that I've taken forward. I wouldn't recommend this one necessarily if, like I said, where he's currently listed, there's not a lot of cards available. So, you're not really going to find a deal, but kind of illustrates it. So this guy, Bacasitas. So again, look at this. I don't know why Northern Ireland are ranked as 0. But I mean, they're obviously not a strong side. So you can see some very nice matchups here. And, we basically get from game week 275 up to 280 matches here. And again, this is a player who did really well for club for a while, maybe not so good in the second half of the year here. But again, if we just go down to, for Greece, we see a couple DMPs. We might need to look into that. Was he injured? It does look like he was around that time when we looked at the club numbers. But when he was healthy, look at this, a pair of hundreds, scored a couple of goals and assist here. So, definitely somebody. And if we look at the pricing, pretty flat, pretty reasonable. I guess it's crept up just a little. So, you might not necessarily feel you're getting a deal, so to speak, but somebody that I think you've missed out on kind of his low point, but at the same time, just a really great score for Greece. And again, look at those matchups that they have. So that's one for me. If we keep going down this this kind of notion, so we have Tskofsky. So he is, North Macedonia. So, again, some really winnable games here. Should do pretty well. And if we look at how he's done, again, we see some goals and assists. And, some also not great performances, came off the bench, things like that. But, certainly the last 4 and, 5 of the last 6, he's been reasonably solid. So I like this one as well. Again, price is creeping up a little, but fairly reasonable. Valentin Antov, he is with Bulgaria. That's right. So, and I should also mention, if we go back to the medium from So Rare, we can actually see the games that they expect will be covered. Sometimes there's a little bit of fluctuations based on Opta coverage and whatnot, but it's the Nations League, it's UEFA. I believe that these are all pretty safe, so you can kind of scroll down and see which matches. The upcoming midweek 275 only has a few of them, but certainly from 276 you see pretty much everyone. So everyone I'm recommending here is covered here on this blog. So again, Bulgaria, same thing. So, not sure here. Might have to look in, was he injured? What happened here? But otherwise, plays the full 90, gets some nice scores. And, his price is pretty cheap. Let's see how he's looked over the last you know, potentially with this video, maybe some other folks have already kind of jumped on this, so we'd probably see a bit of a price increase over time. But okay, so this one, there's no cards available. No, so this guy you might have to kind of hunt around. Let's see if there's any auctions for him. Just the one there. Yeah, okay. Let's keep going. So Chatzi Diacos, he's again some pretty nice matchups here. Cyprus, Kosovo, Northern Ireland. They should be able to kind of to get results in just about all of them. He's a pretty well known commodity, and he's kind of pretty reasonably priced, I would say. But again, if we go to Greece, some really nice scores here for a center back. You know, really put some AA together. So I quite like this one as well. I didn't love the price increase of late, so I kind of felt like I'm probably not buying high or sorry, buying low, buying a bit high at the moment. But that's something you'll have to kind of judge. He certainly does have utility when the domestic season starts up again. Here's where we start to get into players that I did buy. I'll show you my roster in a second. But Dzeko, of course, we know him very well. Bosnia international, and again, some pretty winnable games here. Maybe kind of even matchups, if you will, but still, he DNP'd these ones, but otherwise was pretty strong. The other thing you can do here, I mean, these are Nations League type or World Cup qualifying matches. They also had friendlies back in March, so you could look back at some of those friendlies and see if, you know, was he on the bench? Did he play? And I'm pretty sure he came off the bench on one and played the other. You know, scores are okay, but, you know, like I said, proven commodity, bit of a veteran, of course. So, and the price isn't too bad. So, and of course, you know, whether he returns to Inter or he moves on or something like that, I mean, he's somebody that has value beyond just the Nations League. So yeah, fairly flat. There's the one I bought there. So next up, Michael Pinto. So here's a good example of somebody who's like dirt cheap, doesn't really offer a whole lot. But when we see these pretty winnable games against Lithuania, Faroe Islands, they'll have a tough one against Turkey. But Luxembourg here does okay. Nothing amazing necessarily. Some decent AA scores, if well, I guess just the one. But you know, for a bit of a cheap one, maybe if it's an underdog. I mean, that's the other thing is looking at specialist underdog. You know, this L15, like this is a 31. So the specialist, what's the one called where you need some under 40 guys in there? Anyways, that one, this guy fits really nicely for. So I like that. And again, if we see his price, it's not much at all. Starting to creep up. See, I bought two here, but I mean, 0.003 is nothing. So, so I like this one. Not expecting huge results, but still pretty decent for country. Marciano here, so pretty well known. You do have to pay a little bit for him. What I like here is he. If you're looking for a keeper for Nations League, he might be the cheapest one available. You know, his price is relatively flat, kind of maybe dropping just a tinge, but I think I got him somewhere. It was, I think, 029 or something. I was kind of in this range. Doesn't show up though, but and then as you can see, so some pretty kind of you know, they'll be sort of even up Israel with these clubs. So some good matchups. He hasn't always done amazing for country, but still a totally affordable keeper. So I like this one. And what you're going to see here is if you actually just wanted to stack Israel, there's a pretty cost-effective way of doing this. So Solomon, I just say cost-effective, and then Solomon's actually probably a little overpriced right now, if I'm being honest. Though his future, there's been rumors in the past of going to Arsenal and other clubs. So you know, fairly flat, I guess. Maybe it's spiking just a little. Maybe a longer-term card, so there's some help there. But again, for when we see what he's done for Israel, gets pretty much regular playing time, can put up some really nice scores, score goals, generate assists and things like that. He's the central attacking mid typically, so he's involved in the goals, which is nice. Moving on here, near Bitten, I guess. So this is probably my cheapest recommendation. So dirt cheap, really don't need to worry. I bought 2 of them here, even though it's rising. Again, it's not much, and if we see again for Israel, and see these numbers change as well based on his position. So maybe the matchups for a forward generate sort of a different predictive score or opponent score average. So it's important to look at that as well. So on the defensive side, yeah, he's a center back. That's right. So when he plays for Israel, he actually puts up some really great numbers here. And again, at that price, like just go grab it. And then Munis Dabur. So, someone who for club, he doesn't play as much, doesn't do as well. His price is rising, but still pretty reasonable here. As you can see, I kind of got him somewhere in this range, 0.014. I think I bought 2 of them. We'll check in a sec here. And yeah, so for kind of club, okay, a few interesting results for Hoffenheim, but then when we get to country, like look at this, great scores. He's a striker, gets a lot of the goals. So this is exactly the kind of buy that can help you win cards, or if you want to flip it. And then the last one is Zahavi. So I didn't buy Zahavi. He actually has something like, what did I pull up here? It's like the 18th, or where is he? 19th, 15 hat tricks for country. So actually 19th in the 21st century. That's pretty cool. It's also linked to maybe he's finished his time with Netherlands, or with PSV rather, maybe going to Botafogo. So could be interesting. Maybe a bit of a longer term play. Obviously he's a bit older, but his price is relatively flat. I think we see this. Yeah, even maybe slightly dropping. Maybe you can get one of these lower prices here, and then if you get to Israel, so he puts up some good numbers for club, and then for Israel as well. I mean, look at this. He had a hat trick here, a pair, goal and assist, and things like that. So also a pretty solid buy, I'd say. Maybe a little pricier than say Dabur, but so I kind of went the other way, but. Definitely an option. So as you can see, put my money where my mouth is. I got 1 of Marciano. This was a prize. I bought 2 Betons, 2 Dabbers, 1 Jekko, 2 Pintos. And these are some other guys I've been buying. But so to me, I'm going to be able to, I think I can put together some pretty nice specialist lineups, see if I can win some cards. And I'm probably going to see if I can flip them. So, or flip one of them basically. And if I can see these prices rise and then, get at least 50% of the cost of the one card back, then I've done really nicely. I've built a team for the month of June, and I've made most of my money back as well. So that's my goal. Hope you try it out as well. You've got probably another week or so before other people really jump on to some of these types of players. So anyways, good luck. We'll touch base again, see how we all did. All right, see ya.